Welcome back to Tokyo on Fire. It is February 28th, 2017. The Japanese government has initiated a new plan to engage the Japanese population to spend more, to have more babies. This is a premium show, by the way. Nancy, are you familiar with Premium Friday?
I am, because I saw the ads plastered all weekend, and from what I understand, it's once a month, get off early on a Friday.
The last Friday of every month.
Get off work.
Get off, yes.
Oh, I was thinking of Sweden, and it's planned to repopulate the Swedes with an afternoon delight.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Another story. Yes, get off work. And there was a picture that accompanied one story, and it had a group of co-workers clinking their glasses, already drinking at 3 in the afternoon. Mm-hmm. So alcoholism rates may go up on Premium Friday.
I really love this initiative, Michael, because it's a way to kind of engage the population without their acceptance or without the acceptance of their employers, but it does probably engage the economy. Wouldn't you agree?
Okay, first let's define what Premium Friday is.
Okay.
One Friday a month, employers are supposed to let their employees off at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and that is supposed to stimulate consumption, because immediately, of course, everybody, after they leave work, they start consuming things. And that this is going to help stimulate the economy. Now, this is promoted and supported by the Ministry of Economics, Trade and Industry, by METI.
Right.
And so that's the theory. We had our first one this last weekend.
Caught most people by surprise.
Yeah, it caught most people by surprise, but there was a lot of PR, as you said. There was a lot of promotion of this and awareness in the media, at least. But in terms of employers, it seems that very few are voluntarily taking on this new, basically, day off that they must give, half national holiday that they must give their employees. And who could blame them?
Well, it's a tax. Basically, it's a tax.
Yeah, it's basically a tax in that you are not allowed to have your workers work for you, and yet you still have to pay them for that time.
Yeah, but 3 p.m. is a little odd, too. I think a few companies were going to give people a half a day, because really,
that's a little bit too generous.
Is that a big, generous gift to give? In the U.S., we might be thinking, okay, I get the last couple of hours. Maybe I can beat the rush hour traffic. Mm-hmm. I think in this context, it has to do also with the 3-day weekend. So they don't want everybody rushing during Golden Week, but to really have the mindset of going and spending, traveling to other parts of Japan, especially that are really in need of domestic tourists. But it looks like that not enough companies are going to be on board. So unless they had full 100% participation, it's not going to be any kind of economic stimulus. And it doesn't get at the larger issues having to do with the work-life balance. If anything, if I had a couple of hours, if I were a typical Japanese salary worker, I'd go home and go to bed.
Yeah,
because they are so sleep-deprived in this nation.
Well, it's only the first month. The next one will be in March, the 31st of March. It'll be on a Friday. Who's to know? But I think it's catching fire.
Well, I think that Dr. Snow does point out the reason why it sells in areas outside of the main urban centers. Because there is always, in terms of internal tourism, this issue of, how much time you can spend if you have to take transportation. Right. And what it's saying is you can get on that train or on that plane early in the afternoon, arrive at the place in reasonable time, and you'll have 2 full days in this non-urban center to spend money in the local areas. Mm-hmm. And that actually has some sense to it. But it doesn't really address the issue of that is voluntary. Mm-hmm. Sure, big companies may do it, and an analysis that's been done by certain media groups have shown that it's especially companies that have bad reputations in terms of overworking their workers that are promoting this the most vigorously.
Mm-hmm.
Those who
Dentsu?
Oh,
who?
The big D. Well,
yes.
These companies are going to be on board very quickly for PR.
Suntory, Honda. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they've had trouble.
But smaller companies that don't have a PR value out of this, it's just basically a cost.
Right.
the thought that they're going to be allowing this is kind of way too hopeful, I think.
And the other thing, too, is you have to employ people to receive these people who've been let off work or voluntarily left work early. So it's that counterbalance. You're going to have some people saying, what am I doing here? You're out on premium
It's for manufacturers
Friday.
only, basically, is what it means, is that manufacturing...
If you're an hour employee, then you've only worked 20 hours this week.
Yeah, but the manufacturing, you can stop you can stop work. Whereas in the service industries, you're providing services and you're going to be accepting those other people. And that includes commercial, stores, supermarkets, hotels. Those people will not get any time off.
Right.
So in terms of the population,
industry, right.
it'll be basically the workers, blue collar workers, maybe some white collar workers in manufacturing.
But you know what I like about this idea? You know, they have tried to bring up the wages. You know, that would be even more meaningful if somehow the government was able to instill into the companies the duty to raise wages, right? Then there's more disposable income, presumably.
I wonder, too, if they could link this to the Swedish approach to afternoon delight. I'm just trying to tie my two comments together.
I'm glad
because
we can edit
of the
this
low
in between.
fertility rate and the sexless Japan issue. If it could be...
It actually is a part of the
take
whole
off
idea.
once a week, knock off from work, and get knocked up.
Well, look, the reason why I like this idea, I have
Japanese,
dreams, yes, okay, but you know, the government was able to initiate this and kick it off without too much of a cost to the government, without generating too much backlash. And it's an idea that, I mean, who would have thought that it would come out of the government in the first place?
Well, I see it in a really negative light. And part of the fact is that it's coming out of METI itself. And METI is currently being led by a person with whom I have tremendous personal issues, which is Minister Secco.
Right.
And Minister Secco, for me, this is an absolutely classic example of his thinking that there's a communications windfall, a PR boom, an absolutely great image for him, of course, but also for the Abe administration, and that this will have a tremendous effect in further increasing the popularity of Abe Shinzo. I intensely doubt that that's the case, and I don't see that. There are some things that the government has done over the years that have caught on and some that haven't. And some that have just gone wild. And you can go down the list. Cool Biz.
Cool Biz, sure.
Cool Biz,
METI.
that made sense because now people don't have the thermostat on in the summertime, and the Warm Biz in the wintertime, they don't use as much energy. Right. That makes sense. But for every Cool Biz, we have things like the coupon programs, that the Kometo for local purchases that you can't, it's not money, but you have to buy in the local markets. And immediately those coupons go black market online. They start establishing black market exchanges so that the coupons can be exchanged for money at a reduced rate. That's another one of those gimmicky things, like Premium Friday, in my view. Another one is the Furusato Noze, the sending part of your local income tax to another municipality that is supposedly where you come from, but in fact doesn't. And in return, you get a gift from that municipality, right? That's a gimmick.
I like that gimmick.
Tim loved that.
I thought that's a great idea.
Yeah, well, I live in a particular municipality that loses $14 million a year through this gimmick because people take advantage of it and get the gifts and send the money out of the place where they live. Right. Which is insane.
But some people have this desire, I mean, to help Tohoku, to help Akita, to help some of these...
Then do it privately. Don't take away from your own local community.
But people are lazy, you know? Give me some steak from that prefecture and I'll send you some money. That sounds great.
You get steak?
You get steak,
I
you
was
get potatoes,
thinking of
you get miso. No, you get good stuff.
Go up online and see that it's entirely institutionalized. And now
I'm from Augusta, Georgia.
It's not included.
It's not in there. You don't
set
get
of golf clubs. No.
No, it's Japan only right now. Right. God help us if it ever goes outside of Japan.
Trump steaks.
And I see Premium Friday in that latter category of gimmicks. And that it may catch on, but it'll take on a life of its own. Like Furusato Nose has taken on a life of its own. And it will become a net negative for a lot of companies. It'll be for a lot of people. And it will, even if manufacturers go in on it, they're going to somehow twist it so that it ends up in lower wages.
The Abe administration throwing it up against the wall to see if it sticks. Stay tuned. We'll see how this one pans out.